why would someone follow your blog if you're just blogging about what's on your mind when they're only going to follow your blog if you're solving their problems?
How you doing, Eric? Sorry, Eric. Oh, God. Ryan.
The mindset and the idea of the intent, if you want to retire and live abroad and blog abroad, build a blog as you're doing it, you really have to fall so deeply in love with the idea of blogging and retiring to the tropics to be free that you will do the things that really scare you, that feel really uncomfortable, that help you not officially cut ties entirely, but that help you put your old life behind you to move into your new life. So really, that more than anything, the practical tips, that stuff's important, but you really have to have it in your veins, in your blood, because it's so easy to scamper back and to say, no way, I don't know what I'm doing here. I mean, going abroad and all the resistance. And then you'll see nightmare stories from expats in certain places, and they'll say, don't go there. But it really wasn't the place, it was their mindset. Because a lot of expats that go to these places, they're running away from problems at home. They're not wanting to go to Thailand or, I've seen that many, many times. If you really focus on having experiences rather than thinking that a thing is going to make you happy or give you comfort or warmth or peace, then I think even people that are living the homebody life would still let go a lot of their stuff, because they start seeing, they think something's going to make them happy when it's always the frame of mind. And with traveling, how we do it, or even if you're not traveling full-time digital nomad for a year or for years, the more you release these things, you start to understand that you never really, quote unquote, really on a genuine level needed them. And you kind of have to, because if you're worrying about them and thinking about them, it pulls you back to the past or in the future back home, and you're thinking about home, and then you're not present to enjoy a Mexico or a Thailand, or I have to worry about this, I have to worry about that. And it's, again, mind, but really when you think about it, you're going to have to cut a lot of ties in a lot of ways, because you're moving into a different way of living. A lot of bloggers, when they start out, they're like, I just want to blog about what's on my mind or what's important to me. But I just want to remind folks, when you look at the offline world, the world loves specialists and generalists not so much. So if we just want to talk about what's on your mind, number one, you're going to be a generalist, so it'll be a jack of all trades. And number two, why would someone follow your blog if you're just blogging about what's on your mind when they're only going to follow your blog if you're solving their problems? And when you solve one core problem as, say, a blogging tips blogger or a travel blogger, that's how you get real credibility. That's how you become known as a leader in your niche. And a lot of new bloggers don't think of themselves as eventually down the road being credible or being a leader. And this is where the mindset comes in again. You really have to get clear in the beginning. It'll give you more confidence. You'll be tackling a topic from different angles. You'll be able to specialize more. So that's why we really want to stick to one niche, so you could specialize and be seen as being credible. Because if you try to cover multiple, you could have a certain amount of success, but most people, if you're covering 2 or 3 niches, they're going to be like, well, how does this one person cover 3 niches better than the guy or gal that covers one of them all the time, right? Most of us think that way, and you'll see the difference between a blogging tips blogger that does it full time for years versus someone that's trying to cover blogging tips, internet marketing, making money online. You see the quality of both blogs. You're like, wait a second, and they'll leave the generalist behind. So definitely one niche and something you feel passionate about, and that solves a problem, because you got to do it for quite a long time, generously and patiently and persistently, before the traffic and the money arrives. And if you're not doing it for that or for some external driver, you'll quit. And almost every blogger really does.
When you blog about yourself or vlog or whatever about yourself, it isn't all that interesting to anyone else. And so for me, the real thing was, I found, well, wait a second, I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy finding out people's stories. I love having conversations and meeting new people. And that's got to be more interesting than just me talking about myself.
Unless you've lived I tell bloggers, I'm like, unless you're already a celebrity, you've developed your skills, your credibility in some area where people are like, oh, I got to see what's going on in life, or you've lived a life that's just, you've had so many unbelievably wacky, out there, zany experiences. Like some folks have been like, hey, and I put the stories out there here and there, but I'm mainly about blogging tips. They're like, oh, you should make a Netflix series. I've had about 30 really incredibly wacky things that have happened, but these are just rare cases. And with me, that's years and years of just traveling all over. And most people don't do that. And if they do, they go to tourist spots. Like my wife and I, we do some tourist stuff, but we really go out there sometimes. So, in the middle of nowhere. So overall, it's solving people's problems because they're showing up to have their problems solved. And if you're listening to them and you're linking to other bloggers on your blog and you're building your friend network and doing interviews like this and podcasts, and that's where you really get that synergistic effect where you start tapping into that quantum field, that oneness where things really start to move. However they do, they just do.
It shocked me the number of people that are just, they've got small little accounts and there's very little way of getting in touch with them outside of leaving a random comment on some post that they made, some tweet they made, and hoping that they maybe will see it at some point. Do you have any idea why people are acting like that?
There's a number of issues, I would say, a number of causes, but the one that really comes to mind is a subconscious fear manifest as self-sabotage. So it's like, I want to blog, I want to do this, but since this is unconscious, it's subconscious in the back of my mind, I'll write off Twitter, or I'll stop by once a week, or I hate Twitter, or I hate this, or I don't want to be bothered, or all these jerks reach out to me. I've been spammed so many times. Like a lot of bloggers close, and I did for a while too, but they closed their comments when this is an potentially incredibly rich source of free content. Anytime, forget about the engagement, comments are content. You think of Facebook and Twitter, you have user-generated content that has earned individuals tens of billions of dollars. So when people close the comments on their blog because they're afraid they've been spammed in the past, again, holding on to the past and not being present, and it's just they're shutting themselves off. And I did it for a while too, just to test, and I just felt like it was too much. But then when I opened back up, you just see how quickly, I got spammed quite a bit, but that's just part of the business. And how quickly engagement increased. And now I also have links open. I mean, there are no follow links, but if you put a link to your blog or your podcast on Blogging from Paradise, you'll get a link. So it's not a Google link, a link juice link, but it's exposure on a site with, some viewers. So it's that idea again. Most bloggers and individuals and podcasts, they just have these unconscious blocks that they're doing these things that repel success and prolong failure. And then the ego, what it does is it will complain and say, nobody reaches out to me. And then they'll look and see, oh, wait a second, a couple people reached out last week, but I haven't checked Twitter in a week. And it's you snooze, you lose. Everything moves very, very quickly. Everything's in the moment. So it's something I really go so deep into mindset. And most of my posts these days, the ebook you're talking about is my flagship one, How to Retire to a Life of Vinyl Hopping Smart Blogging. I go into mindset, but then lots of practical tips. But really over the past few years, most posts are mindset because I'm just seeing these problems again and again and again. Like the other day, somebody reached out, and obviously I get this a lot. I'm trying to remember what post it even was, I've had people reach out and they just want to get links on my blog and how can I get a link, or sometimes like a new blogger would be like, hey, just do me a favor, stop by and comment on my post and spread the word on it. And I'm like trying to explain, I'm like, if it were that easy, we'd all be billionaires. You don't tell someone who's an established blogger to do the work for you, but you see how the ego is. It does things that are insane. So I'll write a post about how, I'm connected now, and I'm becoming more connected, popping up a little more, because I helped a lot of bloggers for a long time and asked for nothing to earn their trust, to prove that I was interested in befriending them, not in what they could do for me. And I learned that from a lot of the top bloggers in the world. So I write a post talking about the mindset, and it's just, you can't do that. And you got to really put the vibes out there, reach out, help people engage. Like even you're like, hey, how are you? Want to be on my podcast? And it was just like, boom. happened so quickly, and you generously extended this opportunity to me, so you could chat with your followers and your listeners. And it's like, it's just that instant, let's get together and create something helpful for people. Yeah. Versus, and that's the right mindset, versus, oh, I don't have anything to do with individuals, and I just want to get money, and I don't want to be bothered with it, and I just want to write a post and publish it. And nope, it doesn't work that way.